The Chicago White Sox win streak reached 4 games. Then Michael Soroka on the offense could not keep the good times rolling yesterday. Still, it is nice to take 3 of 4 from the Cleveland Guardians. Let's talk about it next on Locked On White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, a lifelong White Sox fan and the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fansided Network. You can check out my written content at southsideshowdown.com. And also, I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press in my past. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Smash that like button. Also follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts and leave a 5-star review. Well, it was the third weekend series in a row that the Chicago White Sox have won. Sox beat Cleveland 3-2 on Thursday, and we talked about that on Friday's show. They then won 6-3 on Friday and 3-1 on Saturday. Although the White Sox were shut out for the 10th time this season, they lost 7-0 on Sunday. But hey, after a 3-22 start, the Sox are now 9-7, and they are 4-3 against the Guardians. While the rest of the division, the Sox are 1-16. So let's petition the league to play the Cleveland Guardians more often. Well, what I do, as I do after every series, let's discuss who is good in this series and then who is bad. And finally, it is Monday, so time to dedicate a segment to how the farm system is doing. It is the first Minor League Monday report. I'll go over the MLB pipeline updated its top 100 prospects. The Sox now have 4 prospects in the top 100, so I'll go over that. But first, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, so on Friday's show, I talked about how Eric Fetty was fantastic on the mound and Jordan Leisure saved the day by getting out of a bases-loaded jam. Well, Friday night, Garrett Crochet kept the great pitching going. He threw a gem of his own. He was a stud through 6 innings as he allowed no runs, scattered 5 hits, and struck out a career-high 11 batters. His ERA is now down to 4.63. And when you look at his splits, his whip against righties is 0.96. His whip with 2 outs, you might as well just turn around if you're that batter that's up with 2 outs. Might as well just turn around and go sit on the bench. 0.91. And when he does reach the 6th inning, and he's done it 4 times now this season, in that inning, his ERA is 0 and his whip is 0.75. He's actually getting stronger as the game goes on. Although he does need to get past that 2nd and 3rd inning unscathed, because when you look at his the breakdown of all of his stats, in the 2nd inning his ERA is 11, and then in the 3rd his ERA is 4. So if he can get through those 2 innings unscathed, he's been nearly unhittable. Also, Jordan Leisure, he continued to have a good series. He got his 2nd save of the season on Friday night. So who else was good in this series? Well, pains me to say it, because, he's not the best person in the world, but Mike Clevenger, he bounced back from his terrible first start of the season in Tampa. He was able to get through 4 2/3 innings on Saturday, and he put the Sox in a position to win. Clevenger, they're not going to ask him to go 7 right now, as he was just his 2nd start of the season. But he only gave up 1 run, 4 hits, walked none, and struck out 5. And then Tim Hill, Jared Schuster, and John Breba, they went the rest of the way to keep the Guardians off the scoreboard. Also, a nice bounce back for Breba, as he was the fool on Thursday night who pitched to both Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor, and that allowed back-to-back home runs. Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor just continue to crush home runs against the White Sox. And there's a little bit of debate I saw on social media about, like, well, does Jose Ramirez really destroy the White Sox, or is he just a really good player? because when you look at like his slash line numbers against the Sox, it's on par with what his regular season numbers are. And I believe one of the guys in the Sox machine, I think it was Patrick Nolan who tweeted that out. But man, when Jose Ramirez plays the White Sox, he just crushes the ball against them, particularly because when you look at his career home run numbers against the White Sox, he will send it over the fence against them. Speaking of at the plate, Andrew Vaughn had a good series. He had a hit in each game, and he finally smacked his first home run of the season. We talked about that on Friday's episode. He had a multi-hit game on Saturday, and he scored the insurance run in the 8th inning of that game. Nicky Lopez on back-to-back nights was able to help the Sox produce some runs. Now, he didn't really get credit for the RBIs, but he was able to have 2 instances where Cleveland made some mistakes. On Friday, he had a high bouncer that the Guardians misplayed, and that error allowed 2 runs to score. Lopez then hit a double in the second on Saturday and a throwing error that allowed Paul DeJong to score. Lopez got to third. And speaking of Paul DeJong, he homered on Friday night. That was part of a stretch where he went yard in 3 of 4 games, and he had 4 hits in this series, and he scored 4 runs. Corey Lee's slash line is now up to 284, 321, 486 after he was 3 for 8 in this series. It included a home run. And things are going right when even Martin Maldonado drives in a run like he did on Saturday. So the Sox were playing great baseball Thursday through Saturday. They were hitting. They were getting some pitching, especially timely hits. They were getting outstanding pitching. The defense was good. They were cruising. And their win streak hit 4 games. So we know the Sox are not going to be, contending for the playoffs. Not when you're 1-16 against the rest of the division, not named the Cleveland Guardians. But, at least they looked fun bad. And they were actually, for 3 games, they were really good. They were the best team in baseball. Well, not the best team in baseball, but they definitely outshined the Guardians. The Guardians actually looked more like the White Sox. And they're without, some of their key players. They're battling some injuries. What is it? Quan, I think he's out for he's out for at least a month. And you can tell that's really affected their offense. But it was nice to see the White Sox for 3 games play some really good baseball. And then everything unraveled on Sunday. So let's discuss the bad next on the Locked On White Sox. Life insurance is not always something we like to think about or think we need. But life insurance is an important safety net for your family, but trying to find the right policy on your own can be time-consuming and overwhelming. Well, with Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for over $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. And if you do not like shopping for a policy, Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find the lowest price. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. And I'm a parent, and God forbid something happens to me. I know my wife and daughter do not need to worry about trying to make up for that loss of a second income because I have a life insurance policy. And I used to think my work life insurance policy, well, that was good enough at from my 9 to 5. Not true. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, may not come with you if you leave your job. So check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And hey, the White Sox host the Washington Nationals tonight at 6:40 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully they'll start a new win streak. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. And welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter, and thank you for making this show your first listen. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox. Smash that like button. Also follow or subscribe to the show on wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, leave a 5-star review. So the Sox were shut out for the 10th time this season yesterday as they lost to the Guardians 7-0. But hey, at least they now have more wins on the season than they do shutouts. Sox win total is up to 12. So progress. A big reason for that 7-0 shutout was Cleveland Guardians starter Logan Allen. Although not the best type of stat for the Sox to get shut out by him, because he came into this yesterday's game. He gave up 7 earned runs in his last outing against the Tigers, and his ERA was above 6. Well, he dazzled through 6 innings of work as he allowed just 6 hits, allowed 1 walk, struck out 3. Yeah, he was making that ball move out there. And, the Sox had a couple opportunities to score some runs, and he escaped it. The other reason the Sox lost, though, was starting pitcher Michael Soroka. I talked about his struggles on Friday's show, as he was last week's What Is It You Say You Do Here player. And he continues to have you ask that question of, what is it you say you do here, buddy? He allowed 5 runs. 4 of them were earned, 4 hits, a walk, struck out 4 through 5+ innings. And it was 2 home runs in the 4th that sunk him. And it also leaves the question is, why is he still in the rotation? He still can't eat up innings. His ERA is 6.39 and his WHIP is 1.51. Opponents have an 856 OPS against him. And I found this stat to be just absolutely jaw-dropping, even though it's only happened 9 times. But when he gets behind in the count, especially 2-0, the opponent's batting average is 889 with a 2.11 slugging percentage and a 2.911 OPS. Okay, so something that happens more often. When he gets a 1-0 count, 15 at-bats, that's happened according to the splits. Hitters have an 867 OPS and a 600 slug. So if he's not getting ahead in the count, or if he doesn't have the command of his pitches, which it seems to be every start, it's going to be a rough outing. Now, to be fair, the defense was terrible, did not help him out. Rafael Ortega tried to make a web gem on a ball that was clearly going to be a single. He had no chance of really making a diving catch, but he went for it, and he slid to his bottom, not sliding out Superman style. So instead of a single, that misplay allowed the runner to get to third in the top of the third and eventually come home on a sac fly for the first run. And that also begs the question, why is Rafael Ortega on this roster? I mean, I get that Dominic Fletcher, if you don't trust him to start, he should be down at AAA then, getting regular everyday at bats. And you do need Gavin Sheets in the lineup, even though his average is obviously dipped. He gets on base. So I understand you play Gavin Sheets in right. and you want to give Andrew Benintendi a day off here and there. But, oh, man, watching Rafael Ortega play, and I understand he's known for his glove, but he's been brutal sometimes to watch. Keyword sometimes. And that play was just absolutely brutal. Sixth inning, more defensive miscues. Tim Hill, he came on. He tried to pick off Jose Ramirez at first. Well, the ball ended up going wide. Jose goes to second. And then Ramirez later scored when Zach Remillard did try to make a tough infield play, but his throw went wide of Vaughn. Although, again, when I watched it, it looked like the throw went wide. Vaughn, though, got charged with the error for trying to make the catch. Either way, it ended up in the Cleveland Guardians dugout and an error. I believe the Sox had 2 errors. And the Cleveland broadcast pointed out, because I was going through, what I like to do is I do like to watch the game. Although that game was so boring, I'm going to admit it, I fell asleep in the 8th inning. Woke up all of a sudden, it was like, thank you for watching the game. I was like, whoa, what happened? I did go back. I obviously watched the condensed game. And the nice thing about the condensed game, if you have MLB TV, the MLBTV.com package, downside is obviously they black out the games if you're in the local market, which is absolutely stupid. Upside, though, you get all the minor league games and you get the condensed games. And the nice thing about the condensed games is they weave between, all the broadcasts, the radio broadcast and the home broadcast. And the Cleveland Guardians home TV broadcast pointed out the Sox played good baseball for 3 of 4 games, but not on Sunday. And that is why the 4-game win streak was not extended. The stuff that has killed the White Sox throughout the season reared its ugly head on Sunday. Bad defense? Check. Struggling to score runs? Check. Ineffective starting pitching? Check. Tim Hill on the mound giving up runs? Check. See? That's why we can't have nice things, White Sox fans. Or at least that's why we can't have nice things for very long. The Sox cannot afford to make these mistakes because they're just not talented enough to overcome those miscues. They have to do everything right in the margins. And on Thursday through Saturday, they did those things. They did get timely hits. They did have good defense. They did have good pitching. And that's why they won 3 games. And then you go back to the series finale against Tampa. Same thing. So that's why they won 4 games in a row. And then everything came apart, and it had to come apart on Mother's Day. Sorry, moms. Well, hey, you can't win them all. So let's get to some minor league news, and let's kick off the first edition of the Minor League Monday Report next on Locked On White Sox. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Now it might be a little bit harder to pick more or less with the White Sox because, as you saw on Sunday, they didn't score any runs, for example, when it comes to the offense. But 3 games before, they were getting runs in. So a little bit harder if you want to pick more or less when it comes to the Sox. But hey, at least it's simple and easy, and there's the chance for some nice winnings, and that's something I can get behind. And don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entries today. And PrizePicks is really simple to play. You can make your pick and submit an entry in less than 60 seconds. So easy, just more or less. Not that long, 60 seconds. Hey, I like that. And if you're good at picking more or less, then this is the app for you because stick to your strengths when it comes to making selections. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I am your host, Todd Welter. Want to thank you, everydayers, if you've stuck with me this far. Hope you had a good weekend. Know it was Mother's Day. I was actually able to get down to Johnsburg, Illinois on Saturday to see my mom. She was happy. Took her out to dinner, although we did carryouts. And then yesterday, tried to make the day really nice for my wife. Went to church and then went down to brunch. As you guys know, I live behind the Cheddar Curtain, so we went to brunch downtown Milwaukee at the Pfister. It was very nice. Although they forgot my wife's meal, so here we are sitting there eating while she's waiting because she said, "Go ahead, go ahead." But hey, at least the Pfister made right by giving her meal for free. And hope you had a good Mother's Day for our female audience out there. Although the demographics, we tend to have a mostly male-dominated audience. So hopefully you guys out there got to see your mom. And if you're married with kids, hopefully it was nice. You know, had a nice day for your wife there. Well, we know this season is not going to be good for the big league club. It's a rebuild. So I want to make sure I dedicate some time to the farm system at least once a week. So every Monday, I'm going to at least make sure at the very minimum, the final segment should usually be the Minor League Monday report. And I really got to get the guys on from Future Sox. Those guys do really good work of keeping you up to date on the White Sox prospects. So really quick though, let's run down the records of the Sox farm system teams. AAA Charlotte, they're 15-23. They have a minus 40 run differential. So hey, not too different from the White Sox. AA Birmingham, they're 20-12, although they're on a 5-game losing streak. High A Winston-Salem, 15-18, although they're 6-4 over their last 10. Low A Kannapolis, 16-16. They got a plus 21 run differential. And the Complex League, they just kicked off recently, and they're 2-3. So MLB Pipeline updated its top 100 prospects list. And kind of want to go over, the Sox do have now 4 prospects on that list. Catcher Edgar Cuero, he just joined the list as he checks in at number 97. At least that's what MLB Pipeline said. Cuero, he's at Double A. He was one of the top prospects acquired in the Lucas Giolito trade last year. He currently has a 245, 313, 451 slash line with 6 home runs. Although he's in a bit of a slump right now. He has a 184, 205, 289 slash line over his past 10 games. He does have 3 hits in his last 3 games, and he had 3 RBIs yesterday. And I try to catch a Birmingham Barons game when I can through, again, the MLB TV package that I got. And I think he calls a pretty good game, at least behind the plate too. Anyways, pitcher Drew Thorpe, the prize of the Dylan Cease trade. He's now up to 57 overall. He's got a 1.73 ERA for the Barons this season, 0.098 WHIP, 33 Ks and 36 1/3 innings. Although he did not have a good outing yesterday. At Future Sox tweeted this out. Drew Thorpe was taken out after 34 pitches and 2 outs in the first inning. He just did not have his command today. He walks the first 2 batters he faced and then 3 straight singles. He got the first out on a great play by Baldwin. That's actually one of the Sox prospects that's leading the Southern League, I believe, in hitting. But yeah, that was his line was 2/3 innings pitched, 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2 walks. Although on May 7th, don't get discouraged. On May 7th, 5 2/3 innings, just 2 hits and no runs in that outing. He is a prospect that's going to rely on command. I mean, he's got the best changeup, according to MLB Pipeline, in the minors. So if he doesn't have the command, yeah, that's going to be a problem. But if he's commanding his pitches, well, then he's a problem for the hitters. Noah Schultz, he is now the 41st ranked prospect in all of baseball. He's got 6 starts for High A Winston-Salem, 3.86 ERA, and a .90 WHIP. He pitched 4 innings on the 11th, and that's pretty much all the White Sox are going to allow him to pitch this season is 4. It's part of their plan. Again, they don't want him to really just blow out his arm. They're being very delicate with him. But he allowed 3 hits and a run on the 11th. And then there's the Sox top prospect, shortstop Colson Montgomery. He is now the 11th ranked prospect. His slash line is 225, 351, 426 with 6 dingers. He has a 265, 419, 618 slash line over his last 10 games. He went 1 for 4 yesterday with a run and an RBI and a walk. And then he was 2 for 4 on Saturday with a double and a triple and 2 RBIs. So, yes, while the batting average is down overall, he's been hitting a little bit better lately. But you got to like his on base. He gets on base. And the slugging, especially over the last 10 games. Although with Paul DeYoung, the way that he's been hitting home runs, at least it gives Colson some more time to get some more at-bats at AAA. You got to remember last year, most of his season at AA was wiped out with an injury. So this allows him to, not have to be rushed up. The White Sox do not have to panic. And as you saw with Brian Ramos, you can be struggling in the minors, come up to the majors, and just start raking. Although Ramos, he did get hit. He did get held hitless on Friday and Saturday. So we'll see if baseball has come for him. And it would be nice if he got an extended look to see if he can adjust back. But otherwise, it'll be interesting to see because Danny Mendick, that's the other little minor league report. Pedro Grifol said that Danny Mendick will be ready for a minor league rehab assignment. And then once he's back, it'll be interesting to see if the Sox send Brian Ramos down. And if they do, is he going to go to AA or is he going to go to AAA? Well, that wraps up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Before I go, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Excuse me one second. Don't want to cough into the mic there. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV Channels app. Excuse me there. The White Sox host the Washington Nationals tonight at 6:40 p.m. Central. Time to start a new win streak. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with the SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Well, we'll be back on tomorrow, and hopefully the White Sox will be back in the win column. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at Locked On White Sox. Smash the like button and give a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. And let me know your thoughts on today's topics regarding who is good for the Sox in their 4-game set against Cleveland, and then who is bad. And then the Minor League Monday report. You can leave them on Twitter at ToddJDub, or you can email me at lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.